how about that right in? Today's video, beginning tips for archery, hunting in general. We got some stuff that we're going to look at, some stuff we're going to go over, so we're going to jerk the bow out here in just a second, so let's go ahead and get to it.
Oh.
Alright, welcome to another episode of Blackfox Outdoors. Today's video, we're kind of going to step back a little bit from the stand, stuff like that. We already got everything set up. One thing we do want to cover with you guys is some hunting tips, archery tips, stuff like that. Okay, so one of the number one things that we like to do, especially archery season, okay, make sure, scent away, keep your camo out in the woods. You know, we got a little container, a little plastic tote. When we start getting closer to hunting season, we wash them in all the scent-free detergents, stuff like that. And this is not me trying to sell scent away or anything, you know, any of the scent proofing products. That's not what this video is about. This video is about, you know, when you're up in the tree and you're looking at getting 10 to 15, 20 yards from a deer, you need every single advantage that you can get when it comes to that. Okay, so when it's rifle season, that's a different story. I don't really go all the way through the steps that I would go through in archery season as much as I do in rifle, just for the simple fact, you know, you can back off. You don't have to be right on top of them. And rifle, reach out there and touch them. Bow, you got to really outsmart the deer. You got to be right there with the deer, and the deer don't even know you're there. So there's a lot of things that go into key with that. Another thing with trying to make sure you're scent proof as possible, especially if you're archery hunting. Okay, so if you're archery hunting, you want to make sure and practice with your equipment as much as possible. So I'm not really going to sit here and shout out names. I like my PSC drive. This is not a brand new bow, but it's done really good. It's put a lot of deer down for me. So when you're going through the shooting, I mean, I know the last video we gave just a few small bits and pieces of steps that we like to do when it comes to bow hunting, but I'm going to kind of go over that. It's not real long. Everything needs to be the same. So when you draw back, make sure I have an anchor point right here that I put my knuckle. That's my anchor point, and it's just like shooting a gun. Okay, you just want to squeeze that trigger. When that trigger goes off, it should almost surprise you, because you shouldn't be able to expect it. Don't jump, flinch, nothing like that. The grip that you have on the bow, you don't want to have a super tight grip on that. Not enough that you're going to drop it on the ground, but you want to be able to let that bow kind of pivot in your hand. Everything's the same. So the peep sight, you're going to line it up with the sight. Okay, you see the sight's round, peep sight's round. You want to make sure and line them up, and all your pins will be at different distances. So everything's a smooth anchor point. Line everything up. Just smooth, easy shot. So as you can see there, I'm a little bit high, but I'm still right where I want to be. So I mean, you should be able to just pull back, do it every time. If you can't, get out and practice. I mean, that's all it takes, is just a little bit of shooting, and you'll be there. So the next thing that we want to cover is something that we're not doing right now. You want to practice in your equipment. So if you're wearing gloves, if you're going to have a face mask on, if you're going to have a backpack on, something crazy like that, usually tree stands you hang your backpack up, but anything that you're going to be wearing with you in the tree stand or the blind or spot and stalk, any kind of crazy hunting thing that you're going to try this year, make sure and practice that way. So you want to make sure, get out, if you're going to be carrying a backpack, if you're going to have your deer calls around your neck, rangefinder around your neck, if you're going to have gloves on, get out there and have that stuff on and get out there and practice. Now I know it's kind of one of those things right now, you know, it's really hot, you're going to be sweaty, you're going to be sweating on that stuff, but that's just, you know, we're going to have to do it. Okay, we just want to be real smooth. Don't let any of this hold you back from getting the deer of your dreams. So I'm going to go grab those arrows and I'll be right back. Another thing that you want to work on, walking into your stands. You want to have the most non-invasive way to your tree stand as possible, or blind. Especially learn where the wind's going to blow. 90% of the time, it ain't going to be perfect every time, but if you got a south wind that's common, you know, make sure and play that wind to your advantage. Like it went back with the scent. Now also with you walk, when you walk, make sure and kind of walk, pause, walk, pause. None of the animals naturally just walk continuous like a human. I mean, that right there is an indicator that there's something in the area that's not natural. Every animal that you see, it kind of walks along and it stops and listens, walks along, stops and listens. That's part of their survival. So if you're just one constant walk as you're going into your stand, or just looking around or scouting anything, one constant walk, you know, if you're stepping on sticks, that's the woods alarm system. So just like you got your truck, somebody's trying to break in, alarm goes off, that's the same thing, the same theory in the woods. Okay, so animals don't naturally step on sticks unless they're alarmed trying to get away, but naturally moving around, they don't step on sticks. It's not one just constant walk and they never stop like we do. So make sure, kind of stop, pause, and go along. And sometimes you'll even walk up on stuff doing that. Okay, and always be aware of your surroundings. So like right here, we've clearly got a deer crossing where they're jumping across. You can see where it's all beat down. They're crossing right here while we're trying to check out our bow and make sure it's still shooting good. Okay, so this is the other side where they're crossing. I mean, there's plenty of opportunities to set up here and be on these deer. So always just be aware of your surroundings when you're out scouting or just hunting. And like I said, this is kind of going into one of our areas that we do have a stand. So we're not necessarily going to set up on this one because we already got a tree stand on this trail here. So let's go back over here and I'll finish up my conversation with you. And one of the last things that I want to cover, make sure to always have a little handsaw with you, a little pruning shear, stuff like that, because you never know when you get up in the tree stand, there's something else you need to clear out or just somewhere, a limb that you missed. It's always better to have that stuff. So you want to have that stuff with you. One more important thing, and this is probably the most important part of this whole video, let people know where you're going. Use your safety equipment. It's very important to get back to your families, your friends. It's not worth getting hurt, get stuck out here somewhere, because a lot of these places we hunt, we don't have cell service. So a lot of times I'll let, hey, I'm going to be out this stand. If I ain't in by this time, you might want to come check on me. So that's no big deal. Let people know where you're at. Hunt with a buddy. A lot of the places that we're going to be, I'm either going to have a cameraman with me or I'm going to have a partner on down somewhere else. So just be really safe this year, guys, because everybody needs to make it home. So good luck. We'll see you in the next video.